Welcome back to another April Update live preview, the content that we'll be deploying to Destiny next week. We're going to be hosting an all Warlock exhibition of some different modes in the Crucible so that we can show you live exactly how some of the different weapons and subclasses in Destiny will behave after we deploy the April Update. Let's help ourselves to a little bit of room temperature water.
You know, Deej, when I'm not designing video games, I'm drinking room temperature water. So I know people have been really interested in what we've been doing behind the scenes. We're going to talk about the resurrection or revive changes. So that's what you have basically in every PvE activity and also in the 3v3 PvP modes like skirmish and elimination and salvage.
Trials of Osiris.
Trials of Osiris, exactly.
Okay.
So we've got some changes there.
We're locked in what we call an educational ceasefire.
Now we're going to have Victor, our guy behind the scenes. He's wearing Light Beyond Nemesis, which is the fast revive exotic.
Yep.
You'll notice a couple things there. First of all, he had to go in a little closer to get the revive. It took a little bit longer. And the other thing you just saw there, which Victor was trying to show us, is that even with the fast revive exotic, like Light Beyond Nemesis or Cresta Alpha Lupi, you can no longer sprint revive.
Okay.
So that's a big change for Trials players.
Okay.
We wanted to sort of make it a little bit more risk versus reward. So that's why we made some changes like the overshield you get is a little less powerful now, the shield that you get when you revive and then you get revived. And the other thing we've done is we've taken in the distance a little bit and made it a little bit longer to do the actual revive itself. So you have to get a little bit closer. It takes you a little bit longer, and that's the major change.
Okay.
And then the other thing that we did that you're not going to see in this current game is in Trials, we added 2 seconds to the revive timer. So there's that timer that won't allow you to be revived by your teammate once you first go down. And normally that's 5 seconds.
Okay.
And then when you go down in that round, we add another 5 seconds. So what we did is we added 2 seconds onto that. Does that make sense?
So I get killed. My teammates have to wait for 7 full seconds before they can revive me.
And then if you die again, we add an additional 7 seconds. So the second time you die in a round, it would be 14 seconds.
And then 21, and then so on.
Correct.
So April Update lands on Tuesday. That's April 12th.
Yep.
The following Trials of Osiris will be April 15th. And we are going to go in and hold court. And we'll see how the new revive mechanics work. And we'll get some of your insights as to how you think the new combat meta plays out. I'm going to put M. Tatch into the community seat. We'll leave it up to you to choose who represents Bungie.
Okay,
and,
that sounds good.
We'll see if we can carry him to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
That Warlock had special ammo on its character, and we changed the way a lot of that behaves in the game. I understand you're changing it again.
Yeah.
So what's up?
So starting with this update, across the board, we made changes everywhere, with the exception of elimination and mayhem. We've made it so that you spawn with special ammo everywhere. So, sorry, I take that back. You do spawn with special ammo in elimination as well.
Okay.
But across the board, you spawn in every game type with special ammo at the beginning again, like we previously had it.
So if you're in the Crucible at the top of the match, you get special ammo.
Now special ammo comes in much later into the match.
Yeah.
So it comes in 3 minutes in. You'll see the special ammo crates around as we're looking at this match that's going on right now. Special ammo comes in 3 minutes in, and then it comes 2 minutes after the fact.
So talk to me about heavy. How's heavy different?
So heavy is another thing that we, across the board, we wanted to, again, make it feel the same no matter where you go in the Crucible. It's going to behave similarly. So heavy only comes in once a match now.
Really?
It comes in at the 5-minute mark.
Okay.
And then it never comes back. If you're a fan of Mayhem, we're not touching Mayhem, how Mayhem comes in pretty continuously. We're leaving that alone because Mayhem is Mayhem.
It's just designed to be explosive.
Yeah,
it's designed to be exactly what you called it.
Pure chaos.
Pure mayhem.
That's what we want. Again, that doesn't affect elimination or trials. So that still comes, when it comes.
And that is?
Once the first team to reach 3 wins, the heavy will show up.
And
then it never comes back again. We've heard the comments. We know that the Legendary stream was a little light. We've increased legendaries across the board in all of the Crucible,
Okay.
and that's beyond what we're doing everywhere else. So the Crucible, like you said at the top of the show, is going to be a more rewarding place. Now, we're not going to change the way this screen behaves necessarily, and these are new characters, but like people should know that they're going to be seeing more legendaries.
Okay.
There's a bunch of things they can do to get themselves up to 335.
Okay.
So playing the Shacks, the Shacks weekly bounties,
Yeah.
completing that each week will get you to something that drops up to 335.
Okay. Up to 335.
Up to 335.
And point of clarification, last week we talked about the fact that the weekly featured Crucible activity is one of the ways in which you can get one of the new Sterling treasure boxes. So in the lower left-hand corner of your director, on the top level of your director, there's always a weekly featured activity,
Yes.
an invitation to say, come play Control or Rift or what have you. So if you play one match of that activity, you get a Sterling treasure box. If you go and interact with Shax, he's got his own quest line.
Yep.
It refreshes on a weekly basis. That's more of an investment.
Yeah, it is. It takes a little longer, and that's true. But
not
the
just
people
one
who
match.
really enjoy doing the Shacks weekly,
Yeah.
we wanted there to be a way outside of Trials, outside of Iron Banner, that was a weekly place for you to get drops up to 335.
Talk to me about some of the other endgame activities that can also get a player to 335.
So Trials of Osiris
Mm-hmm.
will get you up there. The wonderful treasure chest that's on Mercury. If you get to Mercury, we've also opened up what you can get from the Mercury chest now. I believe it drops armor and weapons, and those will drop up to 335. So,
Okay.
And then the bounties themselves will drop up to 330. One of the bounties, you'll be able to do it every day, so you can keep going back each day. If you love playing Trials, and that, again, the Trials bounty stuff can drop up to 330.
Iron Banner.
Iron Banner, we've made some good changes there as well. Jeremiah, who is our resident Iron Banner expert, he removed the legendary engrams out of the stream. So now if you were supposed to get a legendary engram, you'll now get an Iron Banner drop instead. We wanted to make it all about the Iron Banner gear that's dropping, so that's what you're going to be getting. At the rank 3 and the rank 5 packages, you're still guaranteed to get an artifact and a ghost, and now those are 320. So they will drop at 320. So if you haven't gotten up to 320 yet, you're going to get a guaranteed 320 artifact and ghost just from getting to rank 5 in the next Iron Banner.
Okay. And then if I get my rank 5 package, that stuff will drop up to?
Up to 335. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
And
Cool.
the last thing, I think people have talked about this a lot. I've
Yeah.
seen on the forums, there was a bounty that
Oh, yeah.
required 2,500 points and a win.
Yeah.
And now that is 1,500 points and a match completion.
I'm feeling good, Lars. I'm feeling good. Here, let's have another
Toast.
sip of room temperature
Room
water.
temperature water.
And we'll take a break from the Crucible right now because it's my pleasure to introduce you and to welcome to the show John Wisniewski,
How's it going, Deej?
my personal favorite. We got the auto rifles.
Auto rifles.
What have we done to auto rifles?
What we're going to do is we're going to start with the high rate of fire style of auto rifle, which is like your Doctrine of Passing, your Armadius D, your Necrochasm.
Your bullet hose, if you will.
Bullet hose. The base damage is coming down just a tiny bit.
Okay.
And then to offset that, the low rate of fire, so your Suros Regime, your new Queen's auto rifle, her memory,
Yeah.
the base damage is coming up a tiny bit. Pulse rifles, so we're only touching the low rate of fire archetype.
Okay.
So in game right now, that would be like the spare change, and the base damage is coming up a tiny bit.
Okay. So if slow and steady wins the race, you're going to make those bullets just a little bit more powerful.
Correct.
Okay. And then we have the hand cannons.
Hand cannons. So all we're doing with hand cannons right now is we're increasing your ammo inventory.
Okay.
So we've noticed that in some PvP games where you're on a streak or you're using last word and just blowing through your ammo, you tend to run dry. And then in PvE encounters as well, more attrition style encounters like
Yeah.
strikes and raids,
Yeah.
people tend to be running dry as well. So anyone running a hand cannon now is going to have a significant amount more ammo in their backpack.
Okay.
It'll be less time spent running around the field looking for ammo.
Nice. So a 6-gun is still a 6-gun, but
Yep.
you can reload it more often with what you have on your person.
Correct.
Okay. Deeper pockets.
Yep.
Fusion rifles.
Fusion rifles. So this time, all we did with fusion rifles was we just gave them a blanket stability increase. So that's better stability across the board for fusion rifles. And what that means is that as the projectiles leave the barrel in the burst, you're going to get a less severe kick, which means a tighter grouping of projectiles, which means more accuracy.
Cool. Sniper rifles.
Sniper rifles.
Constant topic of conversation in the community.
So there's zoom distance on scopes, and there's 3 scopes that are the shortest zoom distance, and we've pushed that distance out a tiny bit. So it's not very much, but it is enough to sort of shake up your usual sight lines a little bit that you're used to in PvP.
So you can see further with those scopes now, just to sort of make
go
those,
a little bit further.
those close range engagements a little bit more clumsy.
Right. It's a give and take. So your close range, your ability to close range snapshot is a little bit harder, but with the range increase, you get a little bit more accuracy as well. And so that's just the long view, SLR10, the ambush, and the short gaze. We've also added 2 frames of zoom time to the as you go from hip into zoom. So that's slightly slower. It's like just 2 frames, but it does make a difference when you're doing the combat sniping. And I know everyone out there is thinking, well, that's okay, I've got snapshot. Well, sorry to tell you that snapshot now grants you a 20% increase to your zoom time instead of 30%. It was 30%.
This is the role of the sniper on the battlefield, though. I mean, they call that gun patience and time for a reason.
Right. And then the last little change we made there is we reduced stability across the board a little bit on snipers. And so, again, if you're lining up your shots and you're doing your combat breathing and taking your time, that you should feel unaffected. But if you're doing the rapid, trying to like 2-tap a body in PvP and get those quick kills, you're going to be it's going to be a little bit harder to realign on your target, just a tiny bit.
Big gun, it's got a kick.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about some of the weapons in the exotic catalog now. This is extremely popular, the Mida multi-tool. In fact, let's take a look at how popular it's been over time. So when we launched the Taken King, this gun was not brought forward originally.
Right. Its investment attack value was not at the levels of the other weapons.
So it was not a year 2 weapon as soon as year 2 began.
The only thing we're doing to Mida is we're removing high caliber rounds as as unintrinsic property of the weapon. So by proxy, because the Suros is in the family of low rate of fire auto rifles, it's got a buff, so it's going to be a little bit better. And so to address that, so a lot of people tend to use the spinning up option. So there's 2 options, spinning up and focus fire. A lot of people use the spinning up option, and with the base damage increase, that was just a little bit too deadly in our play tests. And so what we did is spinning up now kicks in a little bit later in the mag, about 4 shots. So you still have the same gameplay, same behavior from that perk, but it just kicks in a little bit later. So and then the focus fire option now got a range buff as well. So so you get a pretty significant boost to your range stat if you're going to select focus fire. And then if you pick the other range boosting options in the talent grid in conjunction with that, you'll be able to max out the range value of Suros.
The Hawk Moon.
Yeah. Simple change with this one, made a big difference. We just increased the range a little bit, so now the effective range has gone out, and the general accuracy of the gun is a little bit better because of it as well.
Okay, cool. And it's Cowboy Cousin, The Last Word.
The Last Word.
What happened to The Last Word?
So I'll just come out and say it. We took the damage down on Last Word, and that's only in the Last Word perk. That perk gives you bonus damage, bonus stability, bonus accuracy, and bonus aim assist when you're firing from the hip. So we pull the damage off, it's still a 3-shot kill. You still get the aim assist, you still get the stability.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite weapon to get killed by.
It's
the
pointing
thorn.
right at my head.
Yeah, look at that. It's pointing right at your head. It's like, okay, now you're now being held at thorn point. Check that out. So talk to us about the thorn. What have you done?
So first and foremost, I should say that there's been no investment attack value increase on thorn. Each pulse is going to do the absolute minimum damage we can do in PvP. We reduce the duration of the pulse. So instead of doing 6 pulses, it now does 4. And we've actually done another pass on the intensity of the poison screen effects. So when you're shot by it, it's a little bit less intense on your screen.
You're not completely blind. Icebreaker.
So once again, I should say that the investment attack value of Icebreaker is not coming forward. So
Icebreaker is still a year 1 weapon.
Yeah, we basically addressed the issue where players could charge up their special ammo with Icebreaker, get killed, die, jump off a cliff, whatever, and then swap to another special weapon and have that ammo persist. So that no longer happens. When you switch away from Icebreaker, you will lose all your ammo and have to find it again on the map. So the handling came down, the zoom distance went out. But the exotic behavior is still there. So if you are the PvE style player where you're camping on the hill, annihilating the battlefield, you won't feel the burn on this one at all. And then the total inventory amount for heavy machine guns, sniper rifles, and shotguns got reduced across the board as well. So you won't be able to carry as much in your backpack. So in some PvP games, some players are really good at controlling the spawn rate of ammo crates, and they're able to run around and grab ammo and be pretty stockpiled. So we've limited the amount that they can stockpile, and then to offset that change in PvE, we've increased the drop rate of special ammo bricks.
Okay.
So in PvE, you'll have less in your backpack, but you'll see more bricks drop. Dreg's Promise. So quick change to this one. Projectiles now track based on ADS lock.
Okay.
So as you aim down the sights and then shoot, the Dreg's Promise projectiles are going to just do a little bit better job at tracking.
Okay. And we have Telesto.
Telesto! So Telesto, we fixed an issue where the projectiles weren't recognizing player factions, so friendly factions.
Yeah.
So if you shot your Telesto at your ally or your ally's Ward of Dawn, the projectiles would just vanish. And
Okay.
so now the projectiles know what to do, and what they do is they correctly attach to those targets. So they can attach to your friend, they can attach to your friend's Ward of Dawn, and they will explode, but they will not do damage to your friends. Pull out your Telesto, spray the back of his Guardian down.
Dress me up, dress
with
me
your
up.
Projectiles.
Turn him into a trip mine, essentially.
Exactly. And
a running, charging.
He'll go running in, and he will literally explode himself all over the enemies.
Can't wait to see that. The 1,000-yard stare. It's definitely a popular Destiny sniper rifle.
Yeah. All we're going to do is we're just going to remove a couple bullets out of the inventory. So again, piggybacking on top of the sniper rifle change, your 1,000-yard stare is going to have a little bit less ammo inventory. But other than that, that perfect perk roll that you've gone out there to find and use is going to be consistent.
King's Fall weapons, including this heavy.
Yes, the Quillam's Terminus. Herald Quillam's Terminus and Quillam's Terminus, two guns that are basically the same.
Okay.
We basically reduced the inventory. And then, as far as the rest of the King's Fall weapons, we did a global increase on reload speed. So they're all going to reload a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And Anguish of Dristan, the assault rifle, got a small stability boost as well.
Okay.
And then last but not least is our new Dreg's Promise. So yeah, the way this works is very similar to the tracking perk on rocket launchers.
Yep.
So as you aim down the sights, you will acquire a target, and then the projectiles will lock to it.
So you want to aim it.
Yep.
Definitely want to aim it.
Unlike the rocket launcher tracking perk, there is no audio. So if you're familiar with like Truth, and you know you can aim down the sights and you sort of get that beeping audio,
Sure.
It lets you know that you have a target locked. There's nothing like that for this gun. You just have to trust. But it is Greg's Promise. Greg Pang, our weapons designer, he worked on this. It has become Greg's Promise. He did a great job.
Dude, this room temperature water is amazing. Grant Mackay, everyone. Who do we have up first?
This is the Sun Singer.
All right.
Actually, you just saw him try to melee his way to victory with a flame shield there, and one of the more contentious changes. We've actually lowered the amount of shield that's going to provide for Sun Singers who try to run up and sort of win every fight. And we've also reduced the frequency at which you can acquire a flame shield. Beyond that, we looked at the other melees to try and bring them up a little bit so that there were other play styles there. So if you're running something like Solar Wind, that's going to be available a lot more if you want to like push a shotgunner out of your face or something.
Gotcha.
And then also Brimstone, more specifically in PvE, has got a nice damage boost, so you can cause like little miniature star explosions and have all sorts of fun.
So talk about the super. This super's active now.
So this is Radiance. What we did was tried to make some trade-offs in it. So if you're running Fireborn like 90% of the other players, you're going to notice it's not going to last quite as long. But also we try to make it a little smoother when you're throwing the grenades. You're going to see maybe 1 or 2 more grenades in your super if you're not running Fireborn.
So how is the Stormcaller different? What have you done?
So we just wanted to adjust a few player frustration. Seeing a Stormcaller pop their landfall like we just saw right there.
There we go.
And it would blow up a Titan bubble and blind everyone. So we've reined that in a little. You can't blow up Titan bubbles anymore, for example.
And watch it drain.
Right. It's not gonna blind everyone on the map anymore. Also, the builds that some people were running, where they chose all the perks to make their Storm Trance last essentially, half the match or whatever it was. We've reined a lot of those in, and we've tried to make it a little bit more decision-based. So if you're sort of spamming your Arc Lightning everywhere, it's going to drain a lot faster now. It'll all come in the patch notes. We moved some minor numbers around and all that sort of thing, but probably don't want to hear me ramble about that too long.
Well, and really, it's not as much about the math, it's about the way things feel. No offense to your Stormcaller, I used it. It's actually my PvE class, but when I'm in the Crucible, I'm void fanged up, and I'm all about the Nova Bomb, all about the Nova Lance, actually, because I love just having that extra rocket launcher on my person. So be gentle and talk to me about what you've done. What have you done to my Voidwalker?
So we didn't do anything to Nova Bomb. What we did try to do was emphasize the sort of gameplay personality that the Voidwalker has. So they're lagging a little bit behind the other subclasses in terms of output.
Okay.
So we tried to bring him up a little, and we did that with sort of his energy vampire abilities. So you can see right now as he's playing, he's using sort of his melees and his grenades to sort of destroy people and rip out their souls and turn that into more super energy or more grenade energy or to heal himself.
Yeah.
So the specific changes are again in the patch notes, but it's all about that cycle of using your abilities correctly to make sure you always have an ability available.
I got a lot of questions in chat about firebolt grenades.
A lot of the Sunsinger subclass is built around these dots and using them with Firebolt. Firebolt on its own is actually not that strong, but it's more the Viking funeral build, as it's called.
Yeah.
And without essentially rebuilding an entire section of this subclass, there was no simple way to adjust that. So we kind of left it alone. We looked at other points of frustration like Flame Shield and tried to take a little bit of the power out there, and hopefully that's enough. But we're still watching.
That's really everything that we have to talk about on the third and final live preview of the content that you'll find in the April update.